Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today. Today is Speak with a Diplomat program, a special program organized by the Public Affairs section through its American spaces in Nigeria. This is a monthly one-hour non-policy program. Today's program, as we've been having it in the past, is an interactive session with a diplomat, US diplomat. And today we are privileged to have one of our officers, Katarina, who will soon be introduced. And she will be talking about the role of a US diplomat abroad. I will like you all to please prepare your questions and let's interact on a non-policy discussion today. To introduce our speaker today, well, I would like to call on Nasil. Is Nasil there? Let me see whether Nasil has joined. He promised to join. It's not there. So I'll go right ahead and read the bio. Katarina Lage Ramos is a public diplomacy officer specializing in youth exchanges and engagement at the U.S. Embassy in Abuja, Nigeria. Holding a Master of Arts in International Relations from Tallinn University in Estonia, and a Bachelor of Arts in International Studies with a focus on diplomacy and military studies and history from Hawaii Pacific University. Katrina has demonstrated a commitment to global perspectives through her academic and professional journey. Prior to her current role, she served at the U.S. Embassy in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, where she worked in the immigration visa and American citizen services sections. Please welcome with me our special guest today, Katarina. If you could just put your hands together for her. So Katarina, you're welcome. We would like to just say a word before we start. You're muted.
Yes. Hello, good morning, everybody. It is wonderful to be speaking to you all virtually. From Abuja, I see great representation of all over Nigeria, from Acacia to Sokoto, Maiduguri, Benin City. It's wonderful to see everybody joining today, to see some of your faces. It's really great. I hope to eventually be able to meet everybody in person as we go out and travel more in the public diplomacy section. It really is a privilege to be here to speak with everyone today. As Samuel said, my name is Katarina Lage Ramos. I'm a public diplomacy officer here in Abuja, but I've had the privilege of being in Lagos and Abuja, so getting a little bit of a taste of both of the biggest cities in Nigeria. I'm very excited to be here. I've only been in Nigeria for just over 6 months, so I'm still very new, still learning, and really happy to be here to be representing the United States. Just quickly before we get into the questions, I want to highlight the excitement that I have for being a public diplomacy officer. I really feel like when people think of diplomats, when they think of foreign service officers, they really think of political officers that are going to government buildings, that are shaking hands with politicians, and that's kind of the idea that you get when you hear about a diplomat. But myself, I'm a public diplomacy officer. I get to work with the people of the country. I get to go out and do cultural programming. I get to meet the youth. I get to meet people that are in the creative industries, that are in tech and innovation, and encourage students to study in the United States through Education USA. Being a diplomat is not just one thing. Being a diplomat, and especially serving my country, the United States, overseas, means that we get to do everything and anything to help not only represent the United States and the country we're serving, but also to encourage American companies to come into that country, to create a stage where investors want to go to the countries. And so here in Nigeria, I'm really lucky to be able to work with students, to work with the youth. Nigeria's youth is an ever growing population of potential and excitement and creativity and drive and excitement. And so it's really a very unique position to be in Nigeria, where we can help shape the future of Nigeria through the youth, to help encourage individuals to want to come to Nigeria, and to also send Nigerians to the United States to learn through education programs, to learn through exchange programs, not only in academics, not only in the political sphere, but in tech, in law, in business. And so it's really great to be able to have that opportunity in Nigeria. So now, before I go too far, I'll open it for questions. I want to hear from you, to hear, what your thoughts are, what you think the role of a U.S. diplomat is in Nigeria, and then I'm happy to answer questions as well. Samuel, I
I would
think.
like to open up this to people. So we are going to be taking your questions. So if you have any question, please raise your hand. This is a very relaxed kind of discussion. You know, assume that you are having tea with Katarina, and you would like to know her more and get to know her. And then, of course, she will also might want to know a little bit about what you also do. Um, so if you have any question, please, you can raise your hand. But while we're waiting, I will also would like you to please, um, can you share your experience with us, your journey to become a diplomat? You told us where you've served, but what does it look like to transit from being a student to a worker, and then finally you find yourself here? So people would like to know that, because we have students and those who are going to be watching this video many, many more years after, would like to know how did you become a diplomat?
Yes, so that's a really great question. Everybody has a different path when it comes to becoming a diplomat. And for me, I've had a very straight trajectory, which is not not the usual case. So I'm originally from South Dakota, which is a large by land but small by population uh, part of the United States. I grew up in a town when I was growing up that had 60,000 people total, and so I was not around a lot of international experiences when I was growing up. And then when I was in high school, I had the opportunity for the first time ever to travel overseas. During that trip overseas, I traveled to 6 different countries on a program that's called People to People. Unfortunately, the program no longer exists, but the program had the idea to expose Americans to cultures and experiences overseas, to learn about the different aspects of overseas. You served as like a student ambassador program, is what they called it. And I just had the most amazing time. I loved it. I got to meet members of parliament in the United Kingdom. I was able to volunteer in Ireland, see foxholes from World War II in Europe, between Belgium and the Netherlands, and really have an experience that I never imagined for my career and for my life. And this was when I was in high school, when I was a sophomore. So after my sophomore year of high school, I knew I wanted to do something that would take me overseas, that would allow me the opportunity to represent the United States, but to live in a different country, to experience different cultures. And so I found diplomats. I found the U.S. Department of State, and that's what I wanted to do. So I looked when I was looking at college, when I was looking at my undergraduate, I wanted to study international relations. And being from South Dakota, that doesn't really have a big international population, I knew I needed to go somewhere else in order to study. And so I found a degree program at Hawaii Pacific University in Honolulu, Hawaii, that had a degree program that fit everything I was interested in. It had, at the time, one of the largest international student populations by size in the entire United States. And so that's a different cultural aspect. And Hawaii is a very different part of the United States. The culture in Hawaii is very different than the culture in South Dakota or the culture in New York or the culture even in California. And so I felt like I was getting a little bit of an international experience while still being in the United States. And through that university, I studied abroad 3 different times. I studied in Athens, Greece, and Quito, Ecuador, and then a summer in Thailand, where each opportunity I was looking for what region of the world I was the most interested in. And unfortunately, the more I traveled, the more I realized that I want to go everywhere, that I want to see cultures all over the world. I didn't want to just go to one place, I wanted to go everywhere. And so that further solidified my desire to be a diplomat, to be a foreign service officer. When I was first looking at becoming a diplomat, I was looking at the political side of things, because that's the only aspect of being a diplomat that I had ever heard of before. I didn't think that there were public diplomacy officers or economic officers or consular officers, just to name a few. And I had my first opportunity to intern as a intern at the United States mission to the United Nations. This was an opportunity where I was able to sit in as an intern in Security Council conversations. I was able to meet diplomats and interns from other countries in this multilateral environment where we're in the United States, but you're at the United Nations. You're able to hear these conversations that you usually only read about in newspapers. And that to me was so exciting and so interesting. And then that further drove me in this career path. And I was like, okay, what can I do? How do I become a diplomat? What is the process? And as I was graduating my undergraduate degree, I realized that I needed more experience. And so I decided to study abroad in a different country, in a totally different context, to continue my studies of international relations, but have a different perspective, not just a US perspective, but an Eastern European perspective. Estonia is a Baltic country that was under Soviet rule for many years and has a totally different understanding of international relations than the United States does. I didn't use a single hard physical textbook during my master degree studies because everything was online. Everything was focused on online diplomacy, digital diplomacy, European Union, and securitization for NATO. And so it was a really interesting experience to be able to have not just a background in international relations from the United States, but to get that perspective from a different country. And I really appreciated that opportunity. And I was able to intern at the US Embassy in Tallinn, Estonia, which is a tiny embassy with not very many Americans, but they do great work. And I was in the public diplomacy section. The moment that really clicked for me that I wanted to be a public diplomacy officer is we were on a trip with a band, a bluegrass band from the United States, and they were all from Atlanta, Georgia. They were all Black, and we were in a tiny town in Estonia where the students had never seen people with Afro hair or that looked different than them. And their Estonians are very quiet, very reserved. They don't really express themselves, but they started playing their music and everybody got up. Everybody started dancing, and just the expression and the excitement. I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what makes a difference. This is what continues to break down barriers, to build bridges, to show diversity is good, diversity is important, and also the importance of music and arts in diplomacy as well. Art diplomacy, musical diplomacy are aspects of our culture in the United States and your culture here in Nigeria that really build those bridges. That's where we can really connect, is our love for the arts as well. So it wasn't a straight shot. I kind of diverted along the way, but luckily I was able to join the Department of State as an officer in 2020 during the pandemic. I was supposed to join in March when the entire world essentially shut down, and so I was very disappointed that I finally made it to my place that I wanted to be, and then everything was chaos and crazy, and we didn't know what was happening with COVID-19. But luckily, we managed the crisis. We got that pandemic under control, and I was eventually able to join, where then I served as a consular officer, which every diplomat has to serve as a consular officer at some point in their first 2 tours. And that allowed me a different experience learning about the visa process, protecting American citizens overseas. And now I finally get to do what I'm really passionate about, which is work with the youth, work in the arts, the culture, and the exchanges.
Very, very, very interesting. Thank you, Katarina. I can see a hand up in Bochi. Bochi, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ibrahim. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Like, what does he or she do?
We can't hear you.
My name is Ibrahim. They have you. Use the question. My question is, who is a diplomat?
Who is a diplomat?
And what does he or she do?
Okay, so what do you do as a diplomat? So,
Okay.
Katarina?
Okay, yes, absolutely. Sorry. Thank you for the question. So as a diplomat, I represent the United States currently in Nigeria. And so I look for opportunities to bring American culture, American programs to Nigeria in a way that will be mutually beneficial and establish people to people ties between our two countries. And so, specifically, as the youth exchanges and engagement portfolio holder here, I look for where can we work with the youth in Nigeria in a way that will build upon what's already here and help establish opportunities. One of the biggest opportunities in Nigeria is the YALI network, the Mandela Washington Fellows Program, where we send approximately 50 or more Nigerians to the United States on a program to go to the United States and build on your careers, build on your engagement in your community, and then bring those skills back to Nigeria where you can benefit your community. So for me, being a diplomat here in Nigeria means looking for opportunities where our interests align and how we can leverage US resources, US programs, exchanges in order to help Nigerians. Another way to do that is through Education USA and the American Spaces Network. You're all involved in the American Spaces Network right now, joining this program, but by allowing Nigerians that may never be able to meet an American in person or meet a diplomat in person to have these opportunities to engage with Americans that are here in your country. We're here to help you. We're here to listen, and we're here to learn, and we're here to come up with ideas that will benefit both of our countries. And so for me, I'm passionate about the fact that Nigeria is now number 6 in the world when it comes to sending students to the United States. That is a huge accomplishment for Nigeria. Over 17,000 Nigerians are currently studying in the United States. And that to me is something that we can continue to build on. How do we continue to to get Nigerians accepted into universities in the United States, and to also bring what you learn in the United States back to your country and help establish new organizations or new ideas as well based on those experiences.
Thank you, Katarina. Can we now go to Abeokuta? Please unmute yourself and ask a question.
Good morning. My name is Lianolua. So my question is, she said something about meeting with creatives in different countries. So my question is, what does she think about the creative space in Nigeria, and how does she feel collaboration with US and the US consulate can help push it forward? Thank you.
Okay. Creative space in Nigeria.
Yes, absolutely. So there is so much potential and so much creativity in Nigeria. For example, love the fashion industry here, the creativity with the textiles and the fashion and the designs. I love Nigerian fashion. I already own several pieces, despite the fact that I've only been here for 7 months, uh, almost 7 months, not quite. And then just there's so many tech hubs and innovation hubs and creativity, not just in Lagos and not just in Abuja, but all over Nigeria. And so I think that there's really potential for us to, we try to bring creatives to Nigeria. For example, we have a partnership with Disney. There was a premiere just this week for the new animated Disney Plus program that talks about a futuristic Lagos. And I think that if we can continue to build on those relationships and establish the fact that there's creativity and creative industries, not just in Lagos, not just in Abuja, but all throughout Nigeria, and start spreading the love, spreading the the wealth around to other sections of Nigeria as well. I think that's how we can really see changes through going out and not just focusing in one area. Especially that's what the American windows and the American spaces do, is we offer you an opportunity to join virtual programs, to have access to resources as well. And so if there's anything that you specifically think would benefit Nigeria, we're here to listen as well, hear what your ideas are too, and how we can work with you. It's not just, us saying, oh, we think we can do this and it would be great, but we need feedback, we need ideas, we need those partnerships as well.
Thank you, Katarina. Before we take Hawker, have you tasted any Nigerian dish in the last 7 months? And how was your experience?
Yes. So I haven't been able to try as many Nigerian dishes as I want. I love jollof rice, and I will say that jollof in Nigeria is better than jollof in Ghana, and you can hold me to that. I do believe that. And I have tried like a lot of the spicy dishes, like pepper soup. I love spicy food, so Nigeria is great for that. But I definitely need to expand out more and try more dishes as well. So if you guys have any recommendations, I also accept those as well.
Interesting. There's always this battle about whether Nigeria jollof rice is better than that of Ghana. You have all had it. Nigeria is the best. Nigeria's jollof rice is the best. Thank you, Katarina. We
Thank
go
you.
to Oka right now. Oka, over to you.
Katrina, you made a mention of Yali Network. So I've been a member of Yali Network for years now. So I only get newsletters. That's all I get. So I want to know if you can maybe tell us what exactly does Yali Network do? So what opportunities are there and how can we benefit from it?
Sorry, which network is that?
Yali Network. Yali Network.
Oh, Yali Network.
Yes, absolutely. So the Yali network in Nigeria is the biggest Yali network in all of Africa. There's many different opportunities out there for you. The Yali network here in Nigeria has taken on a life of its own. Our staff member here that works specifically for many years with Yali and Mandela Washington Fellows, uh, he doesn't really have to have to manage anything, because the network of Nigerians in the Yali network here is so robust and so active. So I believe that there's a Facebook page, maybe an Instagram, and probably an X account for Yali in Nigeria. So every year there's a Yali Network Summit, where if you're a member of the Yali Network, you can join the summit and meet like-minded individuals. They do a lot of volunteer opportunities as well. And then every year we have an open call for Mandela Washington Fellows. We just finished for the 2024 recruitment season, but if you're interested, if you work in the areas of the Mandela Washington Fellows programming, we highly encourage everybody, especially from less represented parts of Nigeria, to apply. And then the networks, I believe that there's a representative in each state. And so you can work with the representative in the state. Maybe you want to be the representative in your state to come up with different opportunities as well for volunteering, giving back to your community, or anything else that you think is necessary. And if you have ideas, again, we're here to listen and hear what ideas you have as well.
All right, thank you. We go to Ikeja and then we're back in Hoka. Ikeja, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good morning. My name is Bello. My name is Bello Mojibido. I also have a degree in international relations. So, madam, welcome to Nigeria. So here's my question, a bit critical. So pardon me for this question, all right? So many times people have come up with the notion, or a view, should I say, that diplomatic mission of a particular country in a particular country does spy on the country of host for their home country in all angles. So my question now is this: is this true from your own perspective or understanding of the profession? Thank you very much.
That is a very interesting question, and that's there's always ideas out there about what is actually happening behind closed doors. But the fact of the matter is that we're here to primarily in Lagos, in Abuja, to encourage trade, to bring American businesses to Nigeria, to work with, in Abuja particularly with the government, to try to see where there's areas of collaboration. In public diplomacy, we're trying to get out, trying to meet the youth, trying to meet members, not just youth, but also established opinion leaders, individuals within their community that are already making a difference, but maybe not at the level of the government. And so we have so many different roles that we play within the country, that we're really here to meet people. We're here to talk to people. We're here to see where there's areas of collaboration and to build a better future for relations between our two countries. And so, if that was happening, we wouldn't need to go out and meet people, because we're here to learn. We're not experts. We don't know everything about Nigeria. That's why we want to meet you. We want to talk to Nigerians. We want to see what programs we can bring as well, because we're here to learn about your country and to establish those relationships that will take us down the road as well.
Okay, thank you, Katarina. We'll go back to Oka. Oka, over to you.
So I don't think we have a representative here in Oka. So a lot of young people here, so I really think we need to be there in Oka.
Sorry, you are not audible. You are not audible.
So about the yearly network, I don't think so. We have a representative here in Oka. As you can see, there's many young people here in Oka who are looking for opportunities. So I really think we need a representative here in Oka. Some people are aware of the yearly network and the opportunities they provide.
Well, Katarina, if Oka really is interested in getting more information about Yali Network, we can organize a program to that effect. Okay?
Absolutely.
But I don't want this question to take us away from knowing the diplomat. We want to know the diplomat. We're meeting with the diplomat. We're discussing with the diplomat. And I want you to push out questions that will, spur your interest in diplomacy. You understand what I'm saying? So let's go straight to Duse. Unmute yourself.
My name is Ahmad. So this was the first time that I
attend the program. I want
You are
to,
not audible, sir.
I said, my name is Ahmad Mukhtar, a student at Federal University in Duse, Department of Software Engineering. So this was the first time that I attend the programs. I want to know more about the programs, the goals and objectives, so and how the program is going to impact, so and how I can contribute to the program. And thank you. This was my question.
Okay, let me also answer that question. We have so many programs. As you know, this is one of our programs. It's called Speak with a Diplomat. It's a non-policy one-hour discussion with an American diplomat. Questions relating to their experiences in different countries and what they do. But here we're not talking about what does the US government has to say about this thing, we're not discussing all that. They also have another one called Conversation with an Alum, where we engage people that have actually been sent to the US to participate in various programs, including the yearly Mandela Washington Fellowship that Katarina mentioned. We also have MOOC camp, which we are starting in the next 2 weeks, which you can also benefit from. Is an empowerment program. We're discussing getting started with AI, which I think everybody should be interested in. We've just finished Money Matters just this week. So we have so many programs. Education USA, which comes up every Wednesday. We have on and on. We're having programs for girls next week on business. And so we have so many engaging, educative, and empowering programs at American Spaces. Just like Katarina said, it's all geared towards people-to-people diplomacy, just for mutual understanding, mutual benefits. I hope that is clearer. Katarina, you would like to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that yes, we have so many different programs. And if you're interested in learning about any of the programs or how you can contribute or participate, please, our social media on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, we're always posting different opportunities, different engagement speakers that are coming. So, US in Nigeria, follow us on X, follow us on Instagram, on Facebook for the most up to date information. And yes, we're always posting different programs. And then also, Samuel, I don't know if you see the chat, but the American Space in Maiduguri had a question about youth in Nigeria. Sorry, Samuel, I think you're muted.
Okay, I'm looking at it right now. Let's have Benicity while I look at the question. Benicity, please unmute yourself. Then we'll go to Obauchi. Benicity, are you there?
Good morning, sir. Can you hear us?
Good morning. Go ahead.
Can you hear us? Good morning. I just want to ask, as a diplomat, what are most of the challenges they face as a diplomat, and how do they navigate to overcome it?
Yes, that's a great question. So one of the hardest parts about being a diplomat, at least for the United States, is that we move to a different post approximately every 2 to 3 years, maybe 4 years at a time. And so for a lot of individuals, it's very difficult uprooting your family, moving to a different country, maybe a whole different continent. Before I came to Nigeria, I had never been on the African continent before. Everybody, including myself, was very excited that my first stop in Africa would be in Nigeria, and I agree with them that it's very exciting to be here. Nigeria really is the cultural and creative hub of all of Africa, so I've really enjoyed being here. But it's also hard because then we're only in a country for I'm in Nigeria for a total of 2 years. And so, right at 2 years, we get to really know the issues, really get to know what we're working on, how we can help, and then we're uprooted and moved to a different country. And so, that's definitely one of the hardest parts about this career career, but it's also one of the most exciting parts as well, is that every couple of years we're able to learn a different language, sometimes a different culture, different customs, and get to know how we can also connect what we learned in the previous country to where we are stationed currently as well.
Thank you very much. We go now straight to Bochi. Bochi, over to you.
My question is, as a youth, if I want to study diploma, what would you give me as an advice? As a youth, if I want to study diploma, if I want to be diploma, what would you give me as an advice? What would you advise me?
So she would like to be a diplomat. What is your advice for her?
Yes. So my advice for you is to find what you're passionate about. Being a diplomat, I assume it's the same in Nigeria as it is in the United States, that we're all considered generalists. We're supposed to be able to take any position, but we also have specific specific jobs. So mine is public diplomacy. That is what I'm passionate about. And that is what has really helped me thrive in this career. So when you find out if there's an area that really interests you, if you're really interested in human rights or women's rights or economics or technology, I really would recommend really focusing on what you're interested in and also what ideas you have to portray. You're a representative of your country, of Nigeria. So really taking whatever opportunity you can get to volunteer, to travel, if there's programs offered where you're able to travel as a representative of your country overseas. Those are great practice steps that you can take to really kind of hone in on those skills that you need in order to be the representative of your country overseas.
Thank you very much, Katarina. Now we go to Enugu. Enugu, unmute yourself.
Good day. My name is Glory Chikakano. I'm a law student of University of Nigeria, Enugu campus. I have a question to ask. My question is, I need to know how you felt when you were told that you are coming to Nigeria, considering the insecurities that is replacing Nigeria. I just want to know how you feel.
Thank you.
Yes, that I think that's a question for a lot of people, not just people coming to Nigeria, but people internally in Nigeria as well. Honestly, for me coming here, I knew that there were restrictions put on us with how far we can travel within a certain area. But to me, I was more excited than anything to be able to come to Nigeria. I know that the culture here, the food here, the people here are some of the most driven and exciting people that I will have an opportunity to work with as a diplomat. And so, of course, those concerns definitely weigh heavy on all of our minds, and we want to help in any way we can to bring stability to Nigeria as well. That's one of the roles that we have here, is to try to help Nigerians build a safe and secure country for themselves as well. But for me, I'm happy to see that there's less restrictions than there were when I first got here, that we're actually able to travel. I was supposed to travel to Yola last week. Unfortunately, at the last minute, I got sick and I wasn't able to go. But I think that also the more that we're able to get out in the field as diplomats, the more we're able to talk to people in different states. I think that any fears that people might have or any questions really will be alleviated, because Nigerians are living their lives, and you want to still study and go to the US and have all these different opportunities. And so for us, being able to travel out and meet you all in person, hopefully at some point, really will make a big difference as well. Being able to see you face to face, hopefully.
Thank you very much. We now go straight to Duce, then Bauchi.
Hello, good day. So my
Hello.
name is Jani Salam Batunde. I'm from Federal University, Duse, a student of Islamic Study Department of Education. So my question is that what does it take for a person to be accredited as a as an international diplomatic officer, and why and how does hard power different from soft power? This is all my question for now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Yes, so the accreditation process depends on each country. So for Nigeria, I had to be accredited when I landed in Abuja back in August. And so that's a very technical process. I unfortunately don't know all the answers to. But essentially, you get a card and it says that you're an accredited diplomat allowed to be in the country for longer than the allowed time on a typical visa. And so every country has a different accreditation process in that respect that is decided between the embassy and the host government. And then your question about hard diplomacy versus soft diplomacy, or the carrot and the stick method, as is often talked about in international relations studies. That's a very great question, and I think that's the difference between being a political officer or a military officer and then being a public diplomacy officer. Most of my job is in soft diplomacy. Most of my job is in the idea that creating people to people ties, creating opportunities for sports envoys to come to the country, creating opportunities for students to participate in our American spaces, to learn about the different programs that we offer. Next month is International Women's Month in March, and having programs where women are elevated to an area of being on panels and talking about the different aspects of women just in conversations like this to talk about different ideas. This is soft diplomacy. This is where we create those ties and we show, we're humans. We're just like you. We want to represent our country. We want to go home to our families at the end of the night. We're people. We just happen to work for a government in a different country, and that is where that soft diplomacy comes from, is building those connections, not just with government officials, but with people that are students, that are educators, that are leaders in their communities as well, but maybe not necessarily on the political field. So soft diplomacy really to me means that we're able to talk to you, we're able to have that conversation. We're not telling you what to do, we're having a back and forth conversation between the people of the country we're in and the United States as well.
Thank you very much, Katarina. So we are wrapping up right now. Let's quickly have the last two questions. Bochi and then finally Abeokuta.
Hello, good morning. I am Salo, born and raised right here in Bauchi.
Can you speak up a little?
I think I have three questions for you. The first question, for example, here in Bauchi, it's one of the safest places in Nigeria. And lots of people, young people that want to study in the US, there's this fear of rampant gun shooting that is happening across the United States of America. How can we convince the people of how can we assure them of safety and security of the United States, given the long of rampant gun shooting across the United States of America? That's the first question. The second question is, how will the US government work with the Nigerian government to ensure such opportunities like the American space facility across the villages in Nigeria, because we have remote villages, so we do not have the opportunity to attend programs, educated programs like this. So I'd like to know that. And the last question, living in a world that is continuously seeing the prevalence and development of artificial intelligence, when do we expect to, how long will it take to see and interacting with US AI diplomats in Nigeria? Thank you.
Thank you very much. AI American diplomat. That's interesting. I've never thought of that.
Yes, that is a very interesting conversation. A lot of people are worried that their jobs are going to be replaced by AI. Luckily for me, we at the Department of State believe that face-to-face, people-to-people, in-person interactions are so much better. It's so much easier to have a human-to-human conversation, to move ideas forward. When you're talking to the representative that's an artificial bot, you get really frustrated very quickly because they don't understand intuition, and they don't understand when you're saying something but you actually mean something else. And we strongly believe that people to people connections are definitely the best way to go forward. And so hopefully that will not replace us, and we'll have to find a different job. And then I think your other questions, it was a little bit difficult to hear you, but I think you were asking about um, students in the United States. I'm so sorry, Samuel. Did you hear the question, or do you mind
I think
paraphrasing the question?
I also did not hear it very well, but I think the second question was talking about the opportunities in the US. How can the US government make it easier or something uh, along that line? If the person can stand up again and repeat it. Okay. Bauchi,
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
yes.
Yes, what he was asking is, considering the rampant gun shooting, that's like according to him, there are students here in Nigeria, specifically in Bauchi, that would like to travel to the United States to study in the United States. But considering the fact that over the years there have been reported of gun shooting here and there, how would you convince Nigerians that it's safe to go there and study? I think that's his question. Thank you.
How do you convince? I didn't hear that portion.
How do you convince the students, the prospective students that would like to go to the United States to further their studies, that it's safe to go? Consider the fact that they have been hearing the gun ramping, according to what you said, the rampant gun shooting in schools and what have you, according to him. Yes.
Did you get that?
Yeah, I did. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for repeating the question so I could really understand. I apologize for not hearing it the first time around. And that's a question that weighs heavily on all of our minds, is how can we make sure that people are safe when they're going to the United States? And I'm not a law enforcement official, and I don't really have any skin in the game when it comes to that conversation. But it is a very heavy conversation that we're having in the United States, and definitely a good question for all parents to ask when they're thinking about sending their students to college or university in the United States. And if it's safe, if it's okay for their students to go to these different schools. And I don't have a good answer for that, unfortunately, but it is something that we do take very seriously. And we really, I don't have purview over the safety of everybody in the United States, but it's definitely a question that we're asking ourselves as well, and trying to figure out what's the best path moving forward to guarantee that students are safe going to school. So it's a very important question. I wish I had a good answer for it, but it is something that is still a work in progress.
Finally, Abeokuta, please unmute yourself and ask your questions.
Yes, thank you. My name is Olabode Mayo. My question goes to us. I want to ask, according to Katarina the other time she was answering some questions, she said in that question that American species will begin to spread all over Nigeria. So my question is, when exactly will it begin to spread more than this? Because it's very important for us in Nigeria for American species to spread all over Nigeria rapidly. That's my question.
I think Samuel might be the the best person to answer this question, the expert of American spaces.
Okay. basically, um, in terms of spread, we're already in 21 cities in Nigeria, and we have 25 locations. That's 25 American spaces all over the country. And that's by far the largest all over the world. So, and before the year runs out, we're going to have additional to making 27. So I think the US government has done a lot to have established all this. I think we should make the best use of what we have in the current locations. And as time permits and budget permits, they will begin to extend even to other spaces as well. So thank you very much. With this, I would like Katarina to please give us a closing remarks, and then we'll wrap the session up.
Thank you, Samuel, and thank you all for joining today. I hope that it was an interesting conversation. I do enjoy the questions, and I do look forward to being able to travel more to, in Abuja, we traveled to northern Nigeria, so hopefully being able to see my American window colleagues in northern Nigeria. But I just want to finish by saying that in Nigeria, we're here to represent the United States and to learn from all of you from Nigeria about how we can be of assistance and how we can help and what programs do you need to succeed. What are your ideas? And there's no shortage of ideas in Nigeria. There's no shortage of creativity, and I hope that we can continue to work with Nigeria and from the United States perspective. And thank you all for joining today. Please, I know I said it before, but I do mean it. Follow our social media accounts, not only for U.S. Mission in Nigeria, but Education USA Nigeria and American Spaces, to learn about other programs like this. Next month is going to be very busy with Women's History Month. We have a lot of programs planned, so hopefully we'll continue to see great turnout for those. And even though we're only here for 2 years, our wonderful colleagues like Samuel are here all the time, and they're also here to help. And if you ever have any questions, if you have ideas or anything else that you want to learn about the United States work in Nigeria, our website. And if you have any specific questions on, programming about YALI at your American corner, at your window, please let the director know for the space that you're in, and they'll get those questions to Samuel or Daniel, who works here in Abuja. And we want to help. We want to be a great advocate for what you need as well. So please let us know. We are here to help, and we are here to not only help but learn and experience Nigerian culture. So thank you so much again for your time. It was great to talk to you. Hopefully I'll be able to talk to you all again during my time here.
All right, Katarina, thank you very much. Can we put our hands together for Katarina? Thank you, thank you. We enjoyed the time, and we really appreciate you, pulling out that time for us. And I believe you also enjoyed the session like we do. Thank you very much. Let me just quickly announce to us, just like she said, on our Facebook page, we have programs that we have outlined, and I would want to encourage you to please visit our pages. We have getting started with artificial intelligence that is coming up. You can see it right there on the screen, March 12th. We have our 2 speakers already, and I want to encourage you, registration is a must. So if you want to be part of that, let's make sure throughout the month of March, we have a lot of videos for you. Let's celebrate Women's History Month, and I can assure you this is going to be a wonderful time. So don't miss it. In all American spaces, we have quite a number of programs lined up for you. So please take advantage of these opportunities. And as you do, we know that you continue to enjoy the whole services. So in closing, I would like to thank our directors. I want to thank you most especially for getting on time And for those of you who are seated, I want to appreciate you for coming today. We hope to see you again. This is a monthly program. We hope to see you again. Have a wonderful day and see you very, very soon. Bye-bye to you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.